Welcome to Based Heroes. Today I wanted to talk about the George Floyd riots as it is really getting out of control at this point, and we have to wonder, is it about justice anymore or is it about separating us? Because it seems like all it is at this point is just hypocrisy and separating the American people. Now, you might be wondering what I mean by the hypocrisy of these riots. What I mean is that if you look at FBI crime statistics, you can see that year after year, black on white crime is always, when it comes to violent crime, much higher than white on black crime, almost as much as 10 times in certain years. And now it's not just black on white crime, but black on Asian, black on Hispanic, and black on any other race is almost always, actually always, going to be higher than the vice versa. And that, my friends, is pure hypocrisy. We never see a outrage, we never see any riots or any protests anytime a white person is killed by a black guy or any other race for that matter. So why is it that when George Floyd is killed, we're, demanding justice, which he's getting obviously, but we're now starting to be violent? There's no more peaceful protest. It's all just violent riots where people are looting, murdering. There's been a rape. Burning down buildings. Where does it stop? Why all this outrage over George Floyd, but nothing over the innocent white people that are killed? Now, here is another example of this blatant hypocrisy by the leftist media and the liberals in general. A few months ago, Ahmaud Arbery was killed by two white people. Whether you agree with the death or not, that's not the point here, but it was plastered everywhere on social media, all the news outlets. People were protesting, they were calling for justice, demanding justice, wanting them arrested. It was just guilty before, they get their, fair date in court. Now, about a week after it blew up on the media, there was an elderly couple who was killed by a black guy in a park. Did anyone hear about that? I didn't until later on. It wasn't on mainstream media, it wasn't on social media. Why is that? Do their deaths not matter? It was two people that died rather than one. But because the racial roles were reversed, no one heard about it. This is why it's hypocritical to say this movement is about Black Lives Mattering and about justice. That's clearly it's not. Because, where's the outcry for when innocent white people are killed? Where's the outcry when innocent Hispanics are killed by black people or any other race? Why is it that we're only making it the headlines and news for 2-3 weeks when it's just a black person dying, regardless of the context, regardless of whether or not they were resisting arrest, or whether they had a weapon, or whether they were trying to assault a police officer, or regardless of any context? As soon as a black person dies by a white person, it's national news. It's white people are hunting black people, and basically another race war starts. Now, you might be wondering, what would be the reason for the media or the leftists to create all this division, to create basically a race war? And it's pretty plain and simple. The Democrats want black people to be angry, not just black people, but minorities in general to be angry, to stay mad, so they vote for them. And that's all it's about. It's just control. It's just keeping them on the plantation, because a liberated black person who goes conservative, now they're not going to get that vote anymore. They're not going to play that victim card anymore. Why is it that the biggest victim card is for black people, women, and people of color? It's because they're just conditioned into thinking that they're oppressed by the white person, or anyone that's successful, anyone that's not a Democrat is oppressing them, and all their downfalls comes to the white man being bad, and there's no personal responsibility that they need to take. Now, these riots specifically, and let's be real here, they're not protests, and if you say these are peaceful protests, you're just an idiot, honestly. Look at all the violence that's happening across the country. About 400 cops have been injured, I think 12 dead. The death toll is basically rising. A lot of innocent people's businesses have been ruined. People looting, stealing from stores like Louis Vuitton, just normal local businesses, small business owners. Target. What did Target do to you? And people are laughing and smiling and giggling and happy while they're stealing these TVs, these Louis Vuittons, these Nike shoes. What justice is there in that? What exactly are you protesting at this point? Because you're not. You're just a violent thug, a criminal that's looking for an excuse to behave like a criminal, and it's a pretty piss poor excuse at that. Now, the next issue I want to address is that you don't really see these Black Lives Matter movements really be relevant unless it's an election year, like in 2016, and of course, now in 2020. They're doing everything they can to make it seem like President Trump is the racist. He's just a bad leader. He's the reason for George Floyd dying when he's been nothing but supportive of his family, encouraging the FBI to do an investigation to expedite it. He even posted a tribute video for George Floyd, and Twitter took it down for copyright violations. Go figure, even though there's been much worse copyright infringements on other videos that they've kept up. They're now just using this as a way to, make the president look bad. The Democratic leaders of these cities, the mayors, they're not even defending their own citizens. They're telling the police to stand down. They're not taking the help of the National Guard. They're going against him and letting these happen because then they can turn around and pin it all on President Trump. Even though he's doing everything he can to protect the rights of those that do want to protest in peace, even though they're a very minuscule, small percentage, and they are drowned out by the violent rioters at this point. The president has the obligation to protect his citizens. If the local government and the state government cannot do it, he has the damn right to do it. That's what he's elected for, is to protect and keep us safe. Not to mention, all these liberals and Democrats want to take away your Second Amendment rights. Now, there better not be a damn argument about not needing your guns because you can just call the police, because look how that's working out right now. Are the police coming to your help? What are all these people where in a state like New Jersey, it's so damn hard to get a gun? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do in California with a 10-round magazine when you have 30 people coming at you? What are you supposed to do with a shotgun that has 2 rounds? How do you fend off 10, 15, 20 people? I know an AR-15 can easily do that. But how do you do it with just a shotgun or a handgun that has 10 rounds? Now, to wrap up the video and to make my final point, justice has already been served. Think about it. The officer has been fired, his wife filed for divorce, and he's been charged with, originally it was manslaughter, now it's been upgraded to murder charges, which I don't think is going to work out because it wasn't a premeditated murder. It wasn't like he went out saying, hey, I'm gonna kill a black guy today. If the officer fucked up, he did a really bad job. We all understand that. I think everybody on every end of the spectrum agrees the officer's at fault. However, what more justice do we want? Even the other officers are being charged now. What else do we want? It's not like George Floyd was an innocent man. He's had a record. He's a violent criminal, and that's just how it is. He's a convicted felon, and that sticks with you for life. Obviously, he wasn't changing his life because he was on drugs when this whole happened. Now, regardless of that, he didn't deserve to die. Obviously, it's still wrong what happened. But what more justice do you want? At what point does it stop? Do you want to disband the police? How is that going to work out? What about all the criminals that are going to go out and commit all the violent and non-violent offenses at that point? Do we want it to be like the old Wild West? Because I know the only ones who are going to be safe are people like me who have AR-15s and, their firearms. What about the people who don't have firearms? Who's going to protect them? Who's going to stop all these petty offenses, petty crime that happens, and all the burglaries and things like that if it's not for the police or an armed citizen? All of this is all it's doing is just separating the American people. More people are going to now, it's creating more races because now people are going to be fueled by all this hate and anger they see. They're going to feel targeted. White people are going to feel targeted. Other minorities are going to feel targeted. There's going to be races that are, created on both ends, black, white, Asian, Mexican. It doesn't matter who you are, but this is ultimately going to create more races. Even in my own personal friend group, many people have been, texting me with their frustrations and just blaming a race rather than, a specific individual or specific people, which is what it should be. Now that we're more divided than ever in, I think, recent history in our country, put yourself in the position of these innocent people. If you're somebody that supports these riots, or if you're somebody that takes part of these riots, you're an asshole. What if it was you? What if it was your business or your house that was burned down? A lot of people like to say, oh, they have insurance, so it's okay. Or it's just property, so it's okay. One thing you need to understand is most insurance doesn't cover civil disobedience or riots or anything like that. And even if it did, since you have car insurance, should I just come ram into your car? Should I just burn down your house since you have house insurance? Should I just, shoot you with a gun since you have health insurance? I mean, think about it logically. Don't be such an idiot. We're playing with lives, and, it's easy for us to say, oh, it's rational, it's okay, when it's not us that's being affected, and it's just pure selfishness. All this is doing is just dividing the American people further, and honestly, it's time to end it. We need to come together as a country, as a group of people, and put race behind us, because that's the only way we stop true racism. Hey guys, I wanted to thank you for watching my video. I apologize if the audio quality isn't the best. I'm still getting used to learning how to record properly, and I hope to do better in the future videos. If you did like the content, please do like, subscribe, and comment in the comment section below, and share this video. It would really help me out. I'm really just doing this to kind of vent, get some frustration out, and start some conversations. So if there's something you disagree with, please post it in the comments, and I would love to get your opinion. Have a wonderful day.